Welcome to Sanktor, and today we're going over Plastic Man No More. This is a black label comic, so it gets pretty dark, and this is book one, so I'm actually really excited. It's written by Christopher Cantwell and drawn by Alex Lynn. The story takes place in Mammoth City years ago. We see a rich couple, looking at diamonds in a jewelry store. Unknown to them, they're being scoped out. Mr. $1 Million smile over there. I'm betting a lawyer, some corporate smudge, corner of the office, keys from daddy, and her, homecoming queen, thinks love is a bunch of shiny rocks and metal. Yep, nothing but wedding bells and fancy dinners and trips to Paris for these two. I'm telling you, Woozy, some people got it way too easy. You sound angry. Nope, I think it's hilarious. Then Neil, my friend, why ain't you laughing? Cause Woozy, I'm the punchline. As they exit their vehicle, they head to the entrance of the store with equipment in hand. Get your goggles on. It's gonna be a lot of glass flying. There's a watch inside. I saw it last week with Angel. It's got a solar system on it, and all the planets are little gems. Let's make sure we grab it. I want to give it to her. Yeah, you gonna tell her it's stolen? Are you gonna do what I say? As the store glass smashes in, Eel screams, "Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and give a warm welcome to your Mammoth City jewel thieves." As everyone panics, the owner rushes to press the alarm. They have 3 minutes on the clock. As they scrape everything in sight, Plastic Man searches for the solar system watch, but they can't find it. There's only 2 minutes to spare. Plastic Man grabs the owner and he starts to threaten him, losing his cool, knowing that there's only 1 minute left. I've gotta find it. I'm gonna find it. It's too late. They gotta go. As soon as they start to leave, thinking they're home free, the cops arrive. They were caught and unmasked. The cops laughed at their failed attempt. We're then shown Plastic Man's origin, starting off in prison, ending on parole, and on his 17th violation, the police caught him, and he fell into a pit of polypropylhexanol, becoming Plastic Man. With these powers gained, he learned responsibility and also became a parent. 23 years later, we see the Justice League of America taking on Solaris. He has a death ray, and he's going to vaporize those orphans. Not if Plastic Man stops him. Plastic Man foolishly jumps in the way and takes on the blast. Hawkman proceeds to knock out Solaris. As they all celebrate and laugh, Plastic Man slowly puts himself back together. Clearly in pain, he just rubs it off and heads back home. As he arrives home, his house is just full of clutter, dark and lifeless. Piles of overdue bills are scattered on the floor. He decides to go to sleep and sleep off the death ray till he regenerates. But unknowingly, his body slowly starts to melt down the drain. He wakes up to the sight of his arm falling down the drain. Missing his arm completely, he's taken in shock. So he wraps up his arm in a plastic bag. With a look of worry in his eyes, he decides to just go to the Justice League. The next day, he arrives at the Justice League of America headquarters, explaining to them why he's wearing a colostomy bag as an arm. The Justice League all start to laugh at the idea, completely ignoring the urgency of the matter. They all continue to recap the previous events with Solaris. But there was one person that overheard him, one person that cared, and that was Detective Chimp. He lets Plastic Man know that he's sorry about his arm and it looks serious. He told him that after he left, he discussed it with Batman on what he should do, and Batman suggested to visit a petroleum chemist. Plastic Man thanks Detective Chimp, telling him thanks for looking out for the folks in the cheap seats. He was confused by his response, but Plastic Man let him know that that was something his dad used to say back in the days. His dad was a drunk. We arrive at Dr. Vera's office. The chief scientist at Wayne Tech. She informs Plastic Man that he's depolymerizing. He jokes around with her response, brushing it off, but then she informs him that it's irreversible. The death ray could have accelerated the process, or this could be a natural result of all the damage he's accumulated over time from his original accident. That's when the shock kicks in. Plastic Man is dying. You see Plastic Man battling to keep himself together. He judges himself from all of his actions of his past, meeting Angel, calling himself a fool, goofing around with the Justice League, calling himself an idiot, to the birth of his son, calling him a freak. Plastic Man is going through it, calling himself an asshole for leaving his family behind, summing up his entire life and deeming it a failure. As Plastic Man goes insane, we see in a random alleyway his severed hand spawning out of the sewer, looking for newspaper to rest under for warmth. The next morning, we find Plastic Man at a diner waiting for his son to arrive. Luke steps in, clearly not excited to see his father. Plastic Man tells him it's good to see him. He asks Luke about his time with the Titans. Luke doesn't care about responding. So, he explains to him, sorry for the 6 years. How's his mother doing? And Luke doesn't want to hear it at all. He explains to Luke that his body's slowly starting to give in. His arm was first, and he could feel his feet starting to soak up. He tells Luke that he doesn't want it to happen to him, and he should go get checked. Later on, at the home of Dr. Vera, Plastic Man arrives knocking on her window, asking her, did he wake anybody up? She explains to him that she lives on her own and there's no one else here. He asks her, is there any possible way that he could reverse this effect? She tells him that the only possible way to slow it down or maybe reverse the polymerization is through a nuclear reaction, a massive one. With excitement in his eyes, all Plastic Man has to do is build a nuke. With no thought at all, he looks at Dr. Vera and says, let's do it. And that's the end of Plastic Man Book 1. This is a Black Label comic, so I definitely love it. I always love the Black Label series and the DC Multiverse series. What's it called? The Other Worlds or Westworlds or whatever it's called. But overall, I'm just excited because Plastic Man is finally getting his time to shine. I think he's a great character. I think he's really overpowered, and DC never really knows what to do with him most of the time. So he really shines on like the Elseworld stories, like DC Undead and the Injustice stories. I feel like did justice to his character, and I'm just happy because they get to play around with the character and just have fun with it. And we get to really see what happens between him and Luke. Because last time I've ever seen Luke was in like Titans years and years ago, and then also in the Injustice stories is when they kind of dived into that father-son relationship. So yeah, please like and subscribe. I'll be posting up more comics. This is my first one, so thank you for listening and staying with me. All right, you guys have a good day. Take it easy.